Hello, everyone. No, I got to turn this up. The first item on the agenda is the oath of office for Councilmember Anthony Washington, who will be the acting member of Ward 2. Kiana will administer the oath.
Will you please stand? Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
You want to?
Or if you'd like, whichever you prefer. Thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Anthony Washington.
I, Anthony Washington,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear,
that I will support and uphold
support and uphold
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
all applicable laws of the State of Missouri,
all applicable laws of the State of Missouri,
and the ordinances of the City of Normandy,
the ordinances of the City of Norfolk.
and that I will faithfully demean myself
I faithfully demean myself,
in the office of Council Member Ward 2
Councilmember Ward 2,
of the City of Normandy,
the City of Normandy,
to which I was appointed, so help me God.
which I was appointed to help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations. Next item on the agenda, roll call, please.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Here.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Here.
Councilman Washington?
Here.
Councilman Evans?
Here.
Councilwoman Shivers?
Here.
Councilman Nelson?
Present.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Here.
Councilwoman Valle?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. If you're on Zoom or if you came in person, it reflects your dedication to Normandy. Each individual gets 3 minutes to address the council. If you haven't already, there is a sign-in sheet over on the table if you didn't get a chance to sign in. Also, if you're on Zoom, you can also address the council. Just put your address and your name in the chat. I'm going to ask everybody to refrain from profanity and also from inflammatory language and to avoid individual and personal attacks. So this time is set aside for us for you guys to tell us your thoughts and concerns, and we encourage you to do so openly. We will not have a discussion, so you will come up, you get your 3 minutes, and we will listen attentively. We are taking notes. We are taking this, whatever you say, very seriously, but this is not time for conversations or debates. With that being said, who's the first person?
Stacy Parker?
Stacy Parker, 7815 Faraway Drive. So I kind of wanted to talk about two things rather quickly. Crisis and servant leadership. Some of you all might know, I actually am a crisis responder with BJC, mental health crisis. There's two types of crisis. There's like the crisis that just kind of happens, it comes out of nowhere, and then there's the self-created crisis. And after this snowstorm blew through, I'm kind of like of two minds. Like, yeah, it was expected. I think it was a little heavier than we thought it would be. But at the same time, maybe there were some things that could have been done anticipation of this being like the snowstorm of the of the year or whatever people are calling it. Meteorologists are calling it. Just salting the streets a little better, paying attention to some of the side streets. The Bishop A.J. Johnston Road, I know, is just like a sliding board whenever it snows. So maybe some of the, maybe giving a little extra love to those streets just moving forward if we ever have this type of situation again. Servant leadership. So as we were like waking up to the winter wonderland that we had, you can hear like the tires spinning and people like yelling and going on. Folks were coming out of their houses, and I met neighbors I had never met before, and we all just started pushing people out. And this was over the course of days. And so it got me to thinking about, like, this is servant leadership. This is what it is. You're inspiring people to, like, do things, like, and to help other people. You're putting other people before yourself. So I know I got some chocolate from some, I got a bar of chocolate that I didn't need. And a card. I gave people like gift certificates from Starbucks. It was a beautiful thing. So I'm trying to think about the positives that came out of this this snowstorm. Like, and I don't remember one being this huge before. Like, but just like, I guess moving forward, if anticipation, I think it's better to be over prepared in the future. And then the other thing too, I would like to keep the spirit of helping and servant leadership alive. So something that we can capitalize on right now. So if anybody has any ideas for keeping the spirit going, of people helping each other and getting to know each other and putting other people first, that would be great. I'm ready to do something. I just don't know what. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckman.
Norm
Mulliman.
I'm sorry.
Norm Mulliman, 3605 Oakmont Avenue here in Normandy. I have two issues. The first one, we have a house at 3600 Oakmont Avenue. It's a two-story beige house that sat abandoned for almost several years. In November of this past year, a family moved in. Well, actually, let me back up. In June of this past summer, a family moved in. They lived there for maybe 45 days and moved out. The reason being is they had a constant roof leak, they had an HVAC problem, and they had a horrible infestation of brown recluse spiders. I asked them why they were moving out so quickly, and they said that the homeowner, which is an investment company out of Las Vegas, refused to fix it. Fast forward to Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful young lady and her 4 kids that have moved in there. My neighbors and I talked to them, said, hey, are you familiar with all these problems that they never fixed? She said, what problems? Oh, you might want to be aware of all this stuff. Now here it is January, she can't live there because the heat is broken. She has no heat on the first floor. Luckily her family lives by and she's been living there, but she's still paying rent. She's required to shovel the driveway, and yet the homeowner, this company out of Vegas, refuses to fix her heat. So I just wanted to make the council and the mayor know that we have one of these out-of-town investment companies that's not taking care of landlord issues. We don't want that here in Normandy. We've had that problem. Now, for my second issue. Thank you for bringing up, Stacy, the snow. The snow removal was abysmal. I can't even stress that enough. I personally on Sunday with the first snow went up and down Natural Bridge in my Jeep. I have a 2020 Jeep Gladiator, and I shoved 7 people out of the way, going down the off ramps and on ramps onto 170. But that's handled by the state. The city streets weren't touched for a long time. And I went by City Hall. In City Hall, this lot out here was completely plowed. The front was completely plowed, and the police department, which the police department, I had no problem. That should be a priority. It should be plowed. Plowed and salted. But none of the side streets were done. And then we had that second snow. And again, City Hall, and I've got it on video and I got pictures, completely plowed and salted. Side streets, main streets in the city, unplowed. The street that the mayor lives on was completely plowed and salted. I have that on video as well. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware that Public Works dropped the ball on that. They dropped the ball on that. They dropped the ball on the leaf pickup. We didn't get any of the holiday lights hung up this year again. I offered to sit down and fix them all and go through them all. Nobody from City Hall said, hey, yeah, we'll take you up on that. But something's wrong at Public Works, and we need to get that fixed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Carlton Smith.
Well, I don't know where my name came from. This is my first time here. Usually these meetings, I'm not able to make them because of my own personal schedule. I'm at 915 Bermuda Drive, right there at the corner of LaCorn and Bermuda Drive. I didn't put down that I had any concern because I wanted to observe how this goes. This is my first time at one of these meetings. I wanted to see what's going on, what's being said. As far as the snow, I mean, we all can talk about the snow. We already know that. I've had that house for about 10 years now, okay? I remember I closed on that house Christmas Eve. Made the title company come out, because it was due to go into foreclosure on the 26th. So if I don't get this deal done now, I'm not gonna get it done. So I got them to come out, got a key, and when I came to the house to look at what I was gonna have to do, I heard all these sirens, right? Next thing I know, I had guns pointed at me in all directions. They thought I was a prowler. So when they found out that I was legit, the officer apologized. I said, no, if you're gonna watch my stuff like this, I'm okay with it. And I remember it was always a regiment of them coming around, checking on our property. I don't see that today. So, like I said, that was comforting to me to know that we got our own police department and they're monitoring our homes and our streets. But like I say, here lately, I don't see them that often at all anymore. One other thing, seeing how somebody did call my name, another thing I noticed, when I got that place, if anybody knows where we're talking about on the corner of LaCorn and Bermuda, it was a lot of work needed to be done in that place, okay? When I went in there, it's like, it was stuff everywhere. It's almost like somebody called somebody and said, man, get out now. And they just left everything the way it was. So I had a major cleanup. But normally came to the rescue. I was putting couches out there, because just one day a week they pick up the big stuff. They knocked that out, I said, oh boy, I like this. They had another day for the trash, another day. And it was like the organization was superb. I don't see that no more neither. It's not like that anymore. Our trash is not being picked up and the leaves, somebody brought up the leaves. I don't know, I think it was, I got a lot of trees, y'all. And I knocked down 15, and I still got a lot of trees. So it was comforting to know that that the county would come through, and all I had to do was get them to the curb and come and mulch them up. Last year is when I noticed a drop off on that. Might have been year before last. Those leaves was out there forever. Then they blow back, blowing back through the street. They blow back. So I'm trying to figure out what happened to our trucks, what happened to the people that was coming to get these leaves. So for the short period of time that I've been in Normandy, those are my observations. And I don't know why we've gone backwards with it. But on that note, thank you for letting me step up here. I don't know who called my name, but anyway, they put me on the spot. But thank you anyway, all right? Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Smith, thank you, sir.
Joyce McGrath.
Hello, everyone. Joyce McGrath, 7727 Nokomis Drive. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm just going to say, given the circumstances, we knew about the snow was coming. We haven't had an event like this in 5+ years. But I did see them come down Nokomis, and I was glad. I mean, it wasn't clear, but gradually it came back again and the street was okay. So I assumed it was happening like that everywhere. So Rick and I can see not Public Works, MoDOT from our kitchen. So I saw the lights out there even Saturday night, not work night. So when I was coming home at 1 o'clock in the morning, I saw them out. So they were doing their job. But everything everybody said, I think it equals a labor shortage everywhere. I think they have a labor shortage. I think we have a labor shortage in Public Works. So we don't have the people, can't get the job done. But great observations from all of you. And Miss Fairway Drive, that's a great thing that you all did. So now, I would just say run with that. Now that you know who those neighbors are, stick with it. Maybe this summer have something on your block, like a block party or something, and get to know your neighbors. Because I'm the nosy neighbor on my street. I've been there 36 years, so I know everybody. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McGrath. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard?
Richard Wolf, 7812 Paddington Drive. My wife and I have been 30-year residents here. We have never seen such a ridiculous handling of a snowing event. There was no pre-treating on our street. There seems to be no plan. I don't know what happened to the plan. We've been here for many, many years. We always see pre-treating out there. Normally, Public Works has done a marvelous job, I thought. Our streets now are littered with cars along the side on Ellington and Paddington. There's only three. We live in the Normandy Manor area. There's only 3 entrances and exits to that. And I was out pushing people, trying to help people up the hills and everything else. When I did catch up with a truck that had a snowplow on it a few days later, they were virtually untouched for a few days, and maybe a stripe down the center. But I talked to the guys, and they're shoveling chemical out of the back. They don't have a spreader. What happened to our equipment? We used to have that type of equipment, and it seems like they're not very well trained on how to operate a snowplow, because it was not down on the street like it should be. To clear a couple of passes, it would have taken care of it. But they made 3 passes and barely took off the surface stuff. And there still is just snow and ice. But another problem is we used to have snow routes. We used to have designated snow routes, so where a notification went out ahead of time. People were told, get your cars off the street so we can plow. If you don't, you're going to be ticketed and towed at your expense. And that went out about a week ahead of time. Guess what? They moved their cars, whether they were parked there, enabled or what. But they're just littered now. And we've got construction people who live in the neighborhood who've got their big trucks and their equipment parked out on the street, and you can't get past. It's not safe. 2 people coming up down Paddington's only 2 blocks long, and when you're going up toward Bermuda, you can't get 2 cars passing safely there, headed, in opposite directions. Somebody's got to stop because they're littered all over the place, and it's big stuff. And some of them have been parked there for quite some time. I know your job is tough. You're in a life of public service, and you got everybody on the line firing at you and mad at you and everything else. That comes with the job, unfortunately. I'm in management, I've been a company owner for a number of years, and yeah, I know what it's like to be in that position. But no pre-treating. We knew this storm was coming for about a week ahead of time. I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. I just don't understand. And the plow operators not trained on knowing how to handle the equipment that they're working with. But then I don't see equipment that we used to have. So I'm wondering also.
It's your 3 minutes, sorry.
In my opinion, you put life, the citizens' life and their property in danger. Emergency vehicles couldn't get through. Mail couldn't get done. Trash couldn't get done. Emergency vehicles wouldn't have been able to get in and out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
Sorry for going long.
Anybody on
There's
Zoom?
no one else in Zoom. Oh, actually, someone just commented now. Patty Thomas.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I put everything in the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I just needed to put my address. My name is Patty Thomas. I live at 3703 Oakmont Avenue, and I've been here for approximately 35 years. And my concern is about waste management. I recently received a bill that went up to $90. The previous bills had been 77. I couldn't find how much they were before then. And then on top of it, they have chose to say that glass is no longer recyclable and that you have to put it in a trash can. Since when did glass become trash? So that's my big concern, and I would like to know what the council, if it's been brought up before, if you plan to do anything about it, how can we stop these rising costs? Because I'm not trying to pay $100, which essentially is what, $400 a year for one pickup a week, and then you're limiting what can be recycled. So that is my question or my issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
If anybody thinks of anything later, there are comments, questions, and concerns in the back that are posted. So if you want to do anything while we're actually in the meeting and you want to put it on the post-its on either side, you can also do so. There are pins also around. I thank everybody for their comments and for coming out tonight. D, consent agenda. Before we do the consent agenda, I'd like to make a motion to remove 25-03, Steve Williams from the planning and zoning, appointment. Can I get a, I'll make it, right? Yeah. I'll make a motion to remove Steve Williams from resolution 2503.
Second.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Can I get an approval of the consent agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. E. If you have not already seen on Normandy's website, Friday the 17th from 4 to 8, we will be having our 3rd annual family night at UMSL in the Millennium Center. There will be crafts, a game room, pickleball instruction, rackets and balls will be available, basketball, volleyball, badminton, climbing wall, there's an indoor track. The pool will also be available to everyone, including the sauna and the hot tub and the diving board. So this is a family event. Normandy residents are free if you do not live in the Normandy area. There is a cost. There's a cost. Kids eat free and pizza will be $5. I believe there's no need to RSVP. You just show up and come. So this will be a good thing. So if you haven't heard about it, it's a really fun night. Kids really enjoy it. Family members really enjoy it, and it's also a really nice facility. If you have not been in that Millennium Center, it's very nice. So I hope to see everybody there. Council members, I'm gonna start with Steve.
I have nothing.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Dan and Will in Public Works. Someone's husband passed away on Paddington, and they could not get through, and they flagged. The time they called me, the time I called Yolanda, and she called Sam. Will and Dan was there to dig them out, and they were saying how nice those guys are, and it was so helpful. And I just want to shout them out. I know that they've been busy, and I know they're getting a lot of complaints about the snow and the ice removal, and I get all of that. But in all of that, they still had a kind heart to help someone, smile and help them. And those people were very happy and appreciative. So I just wanted Public Work Directors and the council and know that too about them. And that's all I have.
I don't have anything yet, but if anyone in Ward 2 have any issues or concerns, please reach out to me, text me, or give me a call. Thanks.
Well, congratulations and welcome aboard. Well, it's that time of year, I know it's like snow on the ground and stuff like that, but actually we're getting ready for baseball season, believe it or not. So we're getting ready to get our Redbird rookies and our Nike RBI program kicked up. So details to come soon.
Thank you.
And we also added 2 women's team this year.
Like girls or women?
Women,
Women?
yes,
Oh.
15 to 19. So you know, call them girls, we call them young ladies.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson? Councilman Nelson?
Yes, I'm Nelson. I just want to say that, my biggest concern is the health and safety of our city. And we had some bad judgments over the last week or so with the situation we had in our city. But we're going to try and do better, and I hope we can do that collectively. But it was a bad thing. So we're as a city, we're going to, and the board, we're going to try and do better for our citizens. Because it's about health and safety, just not for the citizens, but for our employees as well. All I have to say at this point, and thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Okay, me? All right, I'm Victoria Vaya from the 4th Ward. I was chair of the board of Glen Echo Park for 10 years before I ran for this seat after we merged. So a little bit of what I've been doing just before I got on here, I've been looking at Normandy and what's going on in Normandy for a number of years. My background is in student recruitment and retention for large universities and student information systems. One of the things that I believe that we need, and I've talked to the board about this, I've talked to Sam about this, we need better communication. I said, what we have here is a failure to communicate. I have been charged with working with code enforcement because when you make a lot of noise about an issue, you get assigned the task of fixing it. I haven't had a meeting in a while, but the next one's going to be virtual so that we can get a broader base. And I'll be doing some presentations of what we've already found. But one of the things that I believe that we really have to do, just like in my old job with students and new students and getting them acclimated to a new place, we have younger people who have not been here for a long time. We have older people who have been here for a long time. We need a way to reach out to everybody. There is an issue on this agenda about an electronic bulletin board, which is one approach. But one of the things that I think we need to do is to adapt to the present technology that people use all the time, their phones. I did a little experiment. If anybody who lives in the 4th Ward wants to give me their telephone number, I've been doing an ongoing live chat with about 25 people over the course of this storm. So who's seen a truck? Who's stuck in their house? Whose dog is that running down the street? Mr. Edward is over here stuck in the he's stuck in the road. He needs help getting out. And within a few minutes, we were able to communicate with people, get some problems solved. So what I'm proposing, and I've been talking about it for a while, are some sort of and there are apps that do this, a communication plan that just like you get Amber Alerts on your phone, you could get Normandy alerts about certain kinds of things. It's just creating a communication plan and executing that plan. That is in addition to the other planning that we need to do for disasters and other kinds of things. But one of the problems that we had here was people didn't know what was going on. They couldn't communicate. We only have a few people here. We don't have the technology to back those people up. And yeah, it's a learning curve. People are going to have to learn how to use it. But I think that would go a long way in making people understand that they're being heard, not just being heard, being responded to, and having some information. It's particularly important. I got a son who lives in LA right now. All the LA cousins were texting each other constantly about where that fire was, who was affected in the family. Same thing that we need to do in case anything like this. This was a training for disaster in our community, and we need to have something in place that everybody knows about, so that we'd be able to get to people very, very quickly when there are changing circumstances. And so one of the things I'm going to ask the board to do, I haven't done it yet, is to consider whether the money spent on the electronic billboard might be used in enhancing the software that the city already owns, and getting something planned and executed that we can get more emergency contact with our people. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. City Administrator.
Oh, yeah, Councilwoman Shivers is on Zoom.
Oh, sorry. Councilwoman Shivers,
Yes.
do you have a report?
Yeah, I wanted to say blessings for 2025, first of all, to everyone and that have joined the meeting. And this is just something that I saw. I was up all different times of the day and night and morning. And we have some speed racers, actually race car drivers. I never have seen so many vehicles putting their car in reverse, trying to get up the hill of Springdale. I mean, if I didn't see 200 or more autos coming up that hill there at all different times, we made poor judgments, as the gentleman stated. We were actually warned more than a week about the storm. And I was highly, highly disappointed in the performance. I want to put that out there. I had reports from Ward 3 that our citizens were at risk, not being able to pick up medication, not being able to have their medicine delivered because it was hazardous for their vehicles. They just couldn't do it because Bermuda and Springdale, Nokomis, this is a busy street here. So I see everything, all different times of day and night and morning. And I wanted to say we did hold hands, and I'm with certain groups and organizations that is not affiliated with Normandy. And we had so many people that we assisted, the homeless, and we made some contacts to pick up medication and so forth for citizens that need it. People need their meds every day, believe it or not. And that should have never happened. And I just hope and pray that it doesn't occur again. I was embarrassed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
City Administrator?
All right, so I have my written report, which was about the snowstorm, and I'm gonna read it out loud, just to kind of give some context about, you know, what we struggled with the response and things we can look at to try and do better next time. So, just to kind of introduce, Winter Storm Blair brought over 8 inches of snow and sleet to Normandy area starting Sunday morning, January 5th, to late Monday morning, January 6th, and then it was also followed by an additional 2 to 4 inches on Friday, January 10th. National Weather Service reported that Winter Storm Blair was the most snow that the region has seen since 2013. For reasons that I'm about to go into, our response to the event did not go as smooth as we had hoped, and it took until this past Sunday really to get a majority of the streets mostly clear and passable. There are still some streets which have some ice pack on them, and we're still working on those today. But the main, the streets that get the most traffic are do have lanes cleared for passing. As far as the response, I do want to just quickly note, because it was brought up, we did pre-treat all the streets before the event on Saturday. The Public Works was in. It just wasn't effective when you get this much precipitation. But our Public Works Department struggled the first 3 days to keep the streets cleared. To make sure of ice and sleet and snow made it particularly difficult to remove. The snow and ice, which had eventually became packed down as people drove on it, and so just running a plow over it was not effective because the plow is meant to push snow. Once you have ice, you have to put chemicals down and wait for it to work and then come back and plow it. The department's response was significantly hindered by several equipment failures, which occurred during the event. To just kind of go through them, our light duty truck, which is our one of our 2 plows, broke down after approximately 3 hours of service. Our skid steer, which we were using to clear some areas, broke down after approximately 6 hours of service. Our salt shed canopy, which had been identified for replacement in a few years, but we knew it needed replacing, but we didn't have the funds yet to do it. It collapsed on January 6th due to the weight of the snow and sleet on top of it. And then just yesterday, actually our main plow, we had to take that into service, but it's already back. It was just a minor warrant, or something that was covered by warranty and a quick fix. But these failures meant that we only had 1 plow for effectively the entire event, and it slowed the response. Luckily, Dennis, our Public Works Director, was able to go down to MoDOT and just kindly ask them to ask if we could use some of their chemicals for the event. And I don't know what you did to get them to say yes, but luckily they did. And so thank you to MoDOT. Without their assistance, it would have been much worse with our salt canopy collapsing. Other challenges included several areas where there was cars parked on both sides of the narrow streets, which meant the snowplow could not effectively get through the area. In the first 2 days of the event, stalled cars blocked roadways and made the streets impassable for the plow until tow trucks could come. Some of the areas particularly affected by crowded streets were Glen Echo Park, Burgell Hills, particularly Colton, Olean, Kirkland, and Winslow, and Skyview Terrace, particularly Windward and Far Away. Our 3-man Public Works Department put over 220 hours, man hours from Saturday before the day before the event to this past Sunday, working several 12-hour shifts and staggering to make sure that we could be out as much as we can. Dennis has already begun making progress getting the equipment that failed repaired or replaced. And we're working to increase our preparedness ahead of any future snow events, including getting additional equipment to increase redundancy in what we have in case to deal with failures as they happen. We are also working, to get our salt canopy repaired, and there is something that was added to the agenda yesterday to get that process moving, and we'll be making adjustments to our capital improvement plan and our budget to make sure that we can pay for these purchases. We may have to push some of our planned projects into next year to do that. Additionally, we will be implementing a previously passed parking ordinance in Ward 2. It affects Berto Hills and Skyview Terrace. This only permits parking on one side of the street at all times. This will not only help with snow events, but just the day-to-day garbage trucks, ambulance, and fire trucks. Some of those subdivisions were just developed with very narrow streets, and it can be very hard to get large vehicles through. I also recommend that the City Council reconsider the parking ordinance in Glen Echo Park, considering parking one side of the street and maybe also considering making St. Andrews and Henderson a one-way loop. Finally, we also are going to recommend that we do establish a snow route ordinance. We don't have currently anything on the books. I don't know if it was something that was done or if it was taken off. I wasn't aware that it used to be done, but we'll definitely get one or bring one to the council for consideration to get on the books to help with that. And then, yeah, so I already said our main plow is back, so we do have a plow, and we already ordered more salt and are working on getting our covering off so we can access what we already had. Our second plow, the truck with the second plow, just got back with the diagnostic today from the shop. It's going to be about $9,000 in repair, but it's a good diesel truck, so we're going to go ahead and get that up and running. And I also want a completely different topic. I also want to let residents know that Missouri American Water is going to be in the area, Normandy area, a lot over the next 3 months with their lead service line replacement program. And I've got some flyers out on the table by the metal detector. Basically, they're going to be sending canvassers around to 900 homes in Normandy, and they're going to knock on your door, ask to go into your basement and look at your service line that comes in through your basement. And if it's lead, they'll replace it, even though it's your line. So if you don't want them to come in your basement, you can self-identify, but you're going to see Missouri American Water around a lot, knocking on doors. And it's a great program that Missouri American Water is doing it. From the shut-off valve to your house, it's actually your responsibility, but they're going to come and pay to replace that if it is lead. So
Hey,
if you're
Sam.
curious, there's a...
I don't want to interrupt, but this is pertinent. to
Wait,
this.
sorry. I'm gonna let him finish, and then if you want to talk to him after the meeting, then you can.
I understand that, but I have to leave, I'm sorry.
If you want to call him,
I'll send you an email because they've already been to my house once and they're doing it all over again. So.
Yeah, I think, and sorry, I think in our meeting, they had said that they're already done some work in Ward 4. So, and they have 900 homes that they said that they do not know whether they're lead or copper, and that's why they're gonna be doing the canvassing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine, yeah. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Sam?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. Sam, I'm concerned because, the safety and health for the citizens, we failed them. We can't continue to make excuses. I asked you a few months ago about giving me and give the board, an inventory check on our public works equipment. Remember that, recall that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really didn't get a report, clear report on what we have, what we got down there, what we need, backhoes, things like that, because I know we had a lot of equipment down there over the years. And we just can't continue to make excuses about what we can't do, because the citizens we have to take care of the citizens. Of course, we take care of our employees also. We got a lot of raises in the last couple of months or so. Everybody got raises, but the citizens, they get nothing. When they have to, can't go out, can't get what they want, because they rely on City Hall, and City Hall's not there for them, you know, and we can't continue to make excuses, you know, because we have to just man up. We made a mistake, we blew it, you know. I understand a council person asked you what we're gonna do, and I think your response was, we'll just see what happens. You know, we can't have an attitude like that. We have to be on our job, we gotta do what we have to do for the citizens. That's what you get paid for. Our job is to make sure you do your job for them. And that's my biggest concern. Safety, health for the citizens as well as the employees. Because you know what happened. That's why insurance went up like 265%. And another thing is, we gotta make sure that we don't have people driving vehicles without CDL license. We can't do that because that gives us a liability risk. We're already high risk now. The trash situation, right now in our city, it's, you know, we need leadership. We're not having it. And the citizens, they're here because they want answers, they want questions, not excuses. Thank you.
I'm gonna, you wanna address the, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Can I?
Well, just
Wait,
real quick, there wasn't a question, so, but there is one thing I want to address.
Yes.
We have even verified with Missouri Highway Patrol about our truck, and we specifically bought the size truck that we have, so that you do not need a CDL license, even with salt in the back and even with a plow. It just doesn't meet the weight requirements. So you do not need a CDL license to drive the snowplow, and we do train our employees on operating it safely.
On the new truck we purchased? On the new truck?
On all the trucks, you don't need a CDL. There are certain things that we do that we need CDL drivers for, and we only have the people with CDLs drive
Okay, can
for
you
those.
get that to me within a couple of days in writing or something, to the board?
You want him to write down that
No,
we
no,
don't?
no, no. I want you to.
I can forward you the email from
Get that
Missouri
to,
State
not to
Highway
me,
Patrol.
to the board, not just to me,
Okay.
information to the board. So we'll know that, because the citizen called me and said they saw someone driving a truck that wasn't qualified to drive it. You know, I just listen to the citizens, you know, that's who I work for. That's it, so. Okay, any more questions?
Well, no, I'm supposed to answer your question.
Okay, any more, answers?
No, there was just one thing I felt that needed to be addressed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, that was it. This is
Okay.
it.
I will say this. We all of our vehicles are driven by licensed drivers, and like Sam said, you do not need a CDL for them, including the snow plows. When the snow was happening, you do have, MoDOT requires, you know, certain limits when people are driving the snow plows. So that's something that we did that was taken into consideration with Public Works. But I would like to address one thing, just so this is not misconstrued by the public. Our insurance premiums are not in any way, shape, or form 265% above what they were because of anything that these employees have done. All of those things happened with MoPerm over lawsuits that we had from previous administrations. And so that was, and those are discrimination cases, and that is why our insurance premiums went from $10,000 to the astronomical cost that they were before. We are in a pool, or we were in a pool that was a low-grade pool. We have turned things around. We're with Travelers now, just so everyone is aware. And our insurance premiums have decreased, and we're going in the right direction when it comes to that. But in no way, shape, or form is there a person sitting in the front office or the back office or anything that caused our insurance premiums to increase, and they are still sitting here as an employee. That is not the case. As far as Sam's report, Sam and I did have a meeting with Dennis on Monday at 1 o'clock, and I think it's important to know that the council, I did ask the council for information about what they saw from the public. I got phone calls from people. I got videos. I got pictures and everything. I was giving updates on Nextdoor. I was trying to keep people informed. The council did do a really good job of giving me information, giving Sam information, and what I would like to do going forward is to talk about how people can be personally prepared, because like everyone was saying, we knew the storm was coming for a week. So you have to be personally prepared, but I think that there are some cracks in the system which were evident, and we also need to be prepared as an organization. I would like, at the end of this, we will be going into closed session to discuss the whole thing, come up with a solution, and then make it community friendly so that guys, the community is given this is our next steps going forward, so that all the murk is kind of like out of it. So that is what the comments are not lost on any of us, but at the end, I think we need to put it in a nice big, like, this is what we've come up with, so that you, the public, know that we are taking this seriously and these are our next steps.
Mayor,
Yes.
question, you did email me, actually texted me and said that we got 25 tons of salt from MoDOT.
We got 50 tons of salt. We
50
used
tons?
25.
50 tons, okay.
I think we use more than that, though. 40.
We use 40.
We use 40.
40, okay, was that a cost?
It will be.
What-
It wasn't a
agreement-
donation.
The
Okay, what's the
agreement
cost?
was that we are going to replenish their supply.
Okay, well, when will the board know what the cost is? Or did we have to vote on that or something, or they just dropped it?
Well, we budget salt every year, and
Okay,
so,
so it's in the budget?
we just, yeah, and so we just placed the winter order, which will get delivered next month.
And
So
we
we
just
delivered
delivered on
enough
Tuesday.
and it's like $87 a ton.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we ordered enough to replenish their stock and our stock, especially given our situation.
So
Today was the deadline. We ordered on the day, right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
So we will repair the salt, so it won't get destroyed from weather and stuff like that, the salt bin?
Yeah, we're gonna get a new structure.
Okay. So, let us know what the price is, or send it,
Absolutely, it will be brought to the council.
okay, appreciate it.
I did have yeah, I acknowledge, thank you for that report, Sam. It gave me some information that I didn't have already, but I think it's important that we put this Normandy response in context. I have friends in Northwoods, I have friends in Greendale, I have friends in Del Nor, I have friends in Pasadena Hills. Nobody liked what their cities did. City of St. Louis didn't like it, people in the county didn't like it. It just, and I'm not using that as an excuse, I'm using that to say that we have to prepare for the unexpected. We have to always plan for the worst case scenario, and if anything, we could use this event to learn what not to do in the future. Like, you look at this event, you plan backwards from this, then we'll put a plan in place, so we'll go over month by month by month what we need to do to get ready for any possible emergency. I don't think that emergency plan has been updated in a while.
May I make a statement on that comment, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, I know we're not like Chicago or South Bend, or I have relatives and I have very good associates that I'm affiliated with in both of those cities. They don't close schools. They don't shut down the trains. They're equipped and they're ready. And this is pertinent, what happened here in the N word, which is Normandy. Like I said, I was highly embarrassed to be looked at and said, oh, your streets haven't been cleared. The Central West End, their streets were cleared. I know. I have friends that live over there that have businesses there. The streets were cleared. They didn't have issues with not getting their medication or getting to the stores or opening up their business. We did. I just want to know, and I want to ask the city attorney and the administrator, who should we point the finger at with this? Our pro temp mayor, administrator, city attorney? Who's going to be held accountable for the actions that happen here in Normandy?
I would say we would hold the chief administrative officer accountable, so that's me. And I'd be happy to talk with you, and I'm already, we've been working on stuff to make sure our response is better next time.
I want to give you a thumbs up though. I called and Ebony answered. So we want to give an applause to Ebony. How long has she been there?
Yes, you're referring to our part-time clerk who we're actually working through with a temp agency. I think she started the week before Christmas. So yeah, she's putting in some hours, and thank you to the city council for putting that in the budget. It's making a big difference in the office, and I think residents are also noticing when they call, it's easier to get hold of somebody.
Okay, well, kudos to Ebony, Miss Ebony. Thank you.
Anybody else? I just want to emphasize, this is a group effort. All of your comments and concerns are definitely noted, like I said, and as far as the next steps going forward, we will be discussing what is best for the city and what is best going forward, and have a plan in place that actually has deadlines and actually speaks to your concerns. So I am going to move on now to city treasurer.
Mayor, good evening, council persons, city staff, residents, those on Zoom joining. Happy New Year. And welcome, Councilperson Washington.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, so for those that have not attended the meeting before, my name is Charles Ellis. I've been in this stead for probably about 9 years about right now. And I come to bring a view on the reporting of the financial status of the city every month. And, you know, I field any questions that I might, along with the city administrator, with regard to those reports as he is preparing them, and I am just doing like a overview of those reports. So I look at part 1 of the financial information that is submitted, which is pertaining to the general fund. The rest of that he submits pertains to other funds of the city, and I do not report on those here in the meeting, but that is available to the board. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. And I prepare a narrative that was requested by one of the former alderpersons about 1.5 years ago. So, so for the introduction to this month's financial report, there is review still needed for the month of November of 2024, as that has not been received yet from the city staff. That normally would have been reviewed and discussed at this month's meeting. However, we do have the activity for the month of October 2024, which we will discuss now. So part A summary of the income statement for the first month of the fiscal year, which began on October 1st of 2024. City recorded a net deficit of $372,000. That comprised of revenues of $322,000 versus expenditures of $694,000. Since the year-to-date total only comprises of the month of October, the year-to-date amounts will be the same. Okay. Part B, summary of general fund balance. The general fund unrestricted cash balance as of October 31st is $924,000. Village of Glen Echo Park project balance is $74,000. The amount held at Simmons Bank as October 31st was $633,000. The amounts due to the general fund from other funds, $205,000, and amounts due from the general fund to other funds is $9,000, totaling an amount of $561,000. General fund balance. Part C, income for the general fund. Ideally, the percentage of budget remaining for income at fiscal year end should be at or below 91.7%, which would indicate that the amount of actual income was either the same or more than the budget amount of income. Unfortunately, the city fell short of the budget amount for income by more than $40,000, or 0.9% of the total budget amount. So the city had an amount of $322,000 again, repeating from Part A. So the estimated budget amount would have been about $362,000 for 1 month of income. Part D, expenditures by department, general fund. Conversely, the percentage of budget remaining for expenditures of fiscal year end should be at or above 91.7%, which would indicate that the amount of actual expenditures was either the same or less than the budget amount of expenditures. Unfortunately, the city did spend more than it had budgeted by more than $331,000, or 7.7% of the total budget amount. Again, looking at what the budgeted amount would have been, about $362,000, over 1 month's time. In October alone, we had the $694,000 spent, and pretty sure that, that can be explained if needed. However, when it came to individual departments, some fared better in keeping expenses under budget while others did not. I'm sorry.
We're gonna let him finish.
That last thing you said, can be explained, what was that?
I'll definitely explain that.
Okay.
Okay. The departments under budget was the park, but those that were over budget were public works, police, administration, court, prosecuting attorney. So, to go back, I'll explain your question, Mr. Nelson. When it came to the city spending $694,000, when you look at the budget of a total of $4.34 million, if you take that over 12 months, 1 month would be about $364,000. So that meant there was in excess of about $330,000 just for that 1 month alone. But then again, you're looking at it from a whole year standpoint. You're hoping that the spending would curtail in future months in order to meet the spending that was done in this 1 month, if that makes sense. And then if you look at the departments, as I said, for example, the department that were over budget, so administration alone had almost 30% of its entire budget spent just in October. So $203 of a total of 710,000. So again, there needs to be some consideration as to why that may have been done, but just looking at it from a perspective of overall, the amounts should even themselves out, hopefully, across a whole year's time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would, so.
Wait, wait.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yes.
Wait. One of the things that I did want to say to the council is the reason why the memo looks differently is because I asked Sam to format it in a different way so that we could see the budget remaining as it compares to the annual budget, as it compares to the month on the year to date. So if that looks different to you, it was my request. I thought it would be friendlier to the eye for us to keep track of what's going in at this time and also what's going out. I did want Sam to talk about the administrative costs just because it is at 71.3%, so he's going to speak to that.
Yeah, it's the first, so this is the first month in the fiscal year, and that's generally when our insurance premiums are due, which is a large chunk of our budget in any year, and a lot of those costs are charged to the administration department. So that's the main driver. There's also some other, annual subscriptions which we renew on the fiscal year. So this happens every year, and you'll see at the end of the year, spending will really drop off. Same thing with revenue. You'll see revenues go up in January when property tax starts coming in, and then also there are certain months that are better for sales tax and different utility taxes as well. So you'll see those fluctuate. Right now, I'm not concerned about anything, and I'm aware of how these things fluctuate. If I am concerned, I'll definitely let the council know, and we'll make adjustments as needed.
Okay, Sam, one question though, are we having any delinquencies in our contracts cities?
You mean from them paying us?
Right.
I think,
No.
there was one check that came in on a court contract that was non-sufficient funds this past month, but I don't think they're behind yet.
What city was that?
That was Hillsdale. It was probably just an error from the clerk, but that's the only one that I'm aware of. Everyone else has been up on their invoices, and I still don't think that they're past their 30 days yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tiny little thing, there's a typo in the first.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, okay.
2025, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
So if anyone has a question, our budget is online and also for the council. It's page 10 of 50 in the report. This is from like October. I just bring stuff. So if you're looking at like all the expenditures for the general fund, it's page 10 is all of them. So you can see each one, and that grouping is very long, and it encompasses the administration part. So just so everyone knows. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Owens.
Mr. Owens.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adopt the October 24 monthly fiscal report?
I move to approve it as amended, because there is that typo that we need to fix.
Can I get a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, old business. An ordinance of this, Council Bill number 24-24, an ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending chapter 220, sections 220.055 and of the city code for ordinances regarding abatement and nuisances, including weeds. Can I get a motion to accept the second reading and to adopt?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Alright. Sam? This is page, what page is this?
Well, hold on. So we have the motion in the second, and that was a motion to adopt, and that was a voice vote, so that doesn't count.
Oh.
But we'll wait on the roll call vote.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this should be the first council bill in the packet. And we had a first reading at the December meeting.
It's right after, here it is, it's right after the financial report.
Right. Essentially what this ordinance does is it just updates our nuisance code to change some of the notice requirements, the methods of notice, and the hearing procedures for abatement of nuisances to match the state statutes. There are some numbers in here that aren't up to date, so this was a recommendation from our city attorney. Basically, we just clarify that you can't have a hearing, you get 10 days, or we have to tell you 10 days in advance, to give you 10 days to abate it as opposed to 7 days. And then we also just changed the method of service from certified mail, which isn't required, to just first class mail. Those are some pretty minor changes.
Any questions or anything? It's pretty straightforward. Can I get a roll call vote to accept the second reading?
Hold on. So I believe the motion that is on the floor is a first and second to accept the second reading and adopt. So,
Oh, is that what I said?
yeah, so we should be able,
sorry.
we should be ready for a roll call.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Before we can ask a question?
Yeah.
Am I looking at this right? That is, ordinance of the city of Norman, Missouri, amending chapter 220? That's the one we're doing?
220,
220.
it's not on here, it's not on the, yes, 220.055 and 220.080.
This is the, regarding the abatement of nuisance, including weeds, is that what we're talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't fill in
Yeah,
the
because
bill
it's not on
number.
the, it's not on.
I didn't fill in
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay.
So this is 24?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there are no changes from the first reading in December. This has already been before the council.
Was that your question?
I'm sorry, yes,
Can I get a roll call vote?
Councilman Sachsenheimer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland,
yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Evans,
Yes.
Councilwoman Shivers,
Yes.
Councilman Nelson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell.
Is she, can you see her? Because that's what I was looking for.
I
Okay, all right, yes.
I think that's frozen. Councilwoman Baye.
Yes.
Bill number 2424 is ordinance 825.
So can you say it again?
Council Bill 2424 is ordinance number 825.
Thank you. New business. Council Bill number 25-01. This is a update of our personnel manual. And if you look at the packet, this hasn't happened since 2023. So it's definitely needed. So Council Bill number 25-01, an ordinance of the city of Normandy, Missouri, amending chapter 135 of the Code of Ordinances and Personnel Policy Manual of the city of Normandy regarding investigation, discipline, and termination of police officers. I'd like to get a motion first reading.
So moved.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sam?
Okay, yeah, so, brief correction. This is just a amendment to the personnel manual addressing one specific issue. We do have some other amendments planned in the next couple months, but this just addresses the issue brought up by a state law that was passed a few years ago called the Police Officer Bill of Rights. We have already amended our practice to make sure that we're conforming with state statute, but we do need to update our policies as well. So basically, the Police Officer Bill of Rights does three things. It has basic requirements for investigative procedures for police officers for misconduct or any instance that could lead to disciplinary action. There are basic requirements that we have to do. We have to make sure that they have legal counsel if they need it. And the state statutes has all these things that we have to comply with. So this amends our policy to put those requirements in our policy. It also requires that we give officers a due process hearing, which is a hearing that they can say, hey, you didn't follow the proper investigative procedure outlined in the Police Officer Bill of Rights. So the changes that this ordinance brings also establishes that due process hearing. And then also, we are also revising our process for a substantive hearing, which isn't, did you check all the boxes during the process, but the final decision that you made, was that fair? We update and clarify that so it also matches with some of the state law changes. So this changes our code, it changes our personnel manual, it changes some of our police general orders. And so it's pretty comprehensive, but it's already stuff that we've been doing and we have to do it to comply with state law.
Any questions? This is just the first reading. Yeah. Okay. Can I get a voice vote to accept the first reading? No questions?
Did we have the reading?
Yeah,
We did have the reading? Okay. That's my mistake.
I believe you had first, second reading and vote already.
I did?
Yeah.
I thought that was just to.
No, sorry.
No, that was just.
It's just a first and
That was
second
just,
for
yeah.
the,
What?
you just asked for a first and second for the first reading of Council Bill 2501.
I'm in a first, yay, and
The only vote is needed to accept the first reading.
I'm in a first,
First motion?
yeah.
Yes, there's a first
Okay.
and a second.
Alright. Alright. Sit. Alright. Resolution number 25-03. Planning and zoning. Oh, wait,
No, we did that.
didn't I need to,
The way you did it's fine.
I did that was fine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just.
Alright, resolution number 25-04, resolution of the City of Normandy awarding a bid of Natural Bridge Road Median Improvement Project and authorizing the city officials to execute a contract on behalf of the City of Normandy with the Wing Bear. This would be 25-05. Hold on. Can I get a motion to approve resolution 25-05?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions on this one? Sam, you wanna?
Yeah, so again, this project is to replace some of the landscaping and damaged landscaping on Natural Bridge Road, specifically from in front of our neighbors here at the USDA project to Lucas and Hunt. All the grass and mulch and bushes, median, would be replaced with stamped concrete. The landscaping immediately around the fountain would stay, but everything else would be brought down to grade and stamped concrete. Again, with the Great Street project, we took on maintenance of those items, and I think we kind of overestimated our ability to keep up with that maintenance and the cost of that. So this is gonna greatly reduce the maintenance costs. As far as the bids that came in, we did receive 2 bids. One bid was not competitive at all. And so I think on the last page of that resolution, sorry.
Weiss Group.
So we got one from Lamkey Construction, they came in at $433,000. And then Spencer Construction came in at 188,000, which is slightly more than we're hoping, but we can, there is enough in the budget to adjust to accept that bid as is. So
And you said the adjustment would come from capital improvement?
no, so all of this is gonna come out of the Economic Development Fund because it is part of that Great Street project. We had some other maintenance items on that we can defer to later years, such as replacing trees. We'll just replace less trees and the bid amount came in, I think, $15,000 over what we had budgeted, so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, so is this the final vote today for this?
Yeah, if you accept this bid, that would move things forward, yeah.
Can we table it? Because the thing is, there's citizens that spoke concern about maybe concrete instead of the grass, because we could get volunteers to put flowers out there, because I've seen it happen before, because, you know, when you get down to Amstel, there's more flowers. Then when you get up here, it's gonna be concrete. And I think that if we just table it and look and ask the citizens, get more input, because they would like to volunteer to do some flowers and the way it used to be, instead of just kind of like scrapping the whole deal. So, you know, I'm just thinking, that's just my thought, because the citizens, I mean, this is what they're asking for. They may have to call you, a group of them, but if we just go ahead with this plan, without maybe, because you know we did a survey, remember? We did the survey. I don't think we put that in that survey, so why don't we just table this and ask the citizens, because once we put the concrete in, it's concrete city, it's it. And it costs more money to replace it. So if we just think about this, and, you know, we got a little time on this, I would think.
So one of the things that we did discuss when we were going through budget talks from April, when did we start? Budget talks. From July to October, when it was a month behind, were projects that we had planned for initially, and this was actually this was one of the projects. This does not affect at all the planters or the circle, which has the native flowers or things in that nature. What this does is it repairs the concrete that has been damaged for about 2 years now. It reduces the rollover problem that we have from the, what do you call that?
Those cast stones.
From the cast stones. And the other problem is that when Gray Streets was initially constructed, the concrete that is there from the cast stones came from Chicago, which is also the place that owns the most. And we cannot ship that from Chicago in an effective cost. So what this does is it gives a clean look to the area, and I think the citizens, we've talked about this, and people have come up and said, like, there's an accident at the circle, the concrete isn't done. I think having the concrete done would be more beneficial to the overall look of the circle. It will not in any way, shape, or form change the flow of water or anything that comes through there. It's going to be a nice, clean look. We have talked about the projects that we wanted to go forward when we were doing the budget talks and everything, and this is something that was in the draft and something that we kind of like hashed over and over again. So I think moving forward with this and giving the entire circle a nice, neat look with the stamped concrete is really the best thing. And I understand that there were, Vicki had a question about like the water flow and everything. My house flooded when we had that 100-year flood. I think my house was the only house that flooded. but that's because my house is the lowest house in my neighborhood, and so all the water gathers to my house, and I know that.
So this would stop the water from going?
This will not stop the water, this is not gonna stop my house from flooding, so this is,
The question
but
is-
what it will do is, like I said, it will clean the area. It will, give a nice neat look. We will still have the planters, and we'll still have the grass that's at the circle and the grass and the medians and things, but, it won't have that, ornamental, the ones where it's raised.
No.
So did we get
I'm
a
sorry,
was there a
this-
diagram? Can we see a diagram of it, or?
We
Didn't you
have,
send that one out before?
I didn't see it.
all had to.
we've shown them before.
Did we all
This
see
does
that?
get rid of the grass in
we
the
all-
median.
No, but not
on the side
ones
of the
here.
road,
Yeah,
not
not
between
the
the
ones
road
on
and
the
the
side of the road.
sidewalk, just
Yeah.
in the actual median.
And the three, you know where,
Yeah.
you know how you come up, Natural Bridge, and then it's like the three triangles, and then there's one in front of, was it Great Circle now? What's the name of that place? St. Vincent's?
St. Vincent?
So that'll be stamped concrete,
Okay.
and then the one right in front of the bar, that'll be stamped concrete, and then the
So
one.
basically you're saying it would go down to possibly, I guess, Edwards? Is that where it stops?
No, no, just the three immediate ones.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. If the
Just
board, if the
the
board,
other ones will stay grass.
okay, if the
Yeah,
board
but just the
desires,
three.
then I
Yeah.
can't disagree with that.
Yeah, just the three immediate ones.
Okay, I'm
No,
just speaking-
so the medians from here at City Hall to Lucas and Hunt, including the three around the circle, would be stamped concrete.
The three right here I'm saying at the circle, they're gonna be stamped concrete.
Right.
And then, not the one in front of USDA.
It is.
That one is gonna be stamped concrete.
In this bid, yes.
Yeah, but not the ones like out right here.
No, between the sidewalk and the road, that's gonna remain grass
Yeah.
and a tree lawn.
And
yes.
then the planters will also still be there.
So the question is,
So,
how
so the
long,
cast stone footings, but the big bowl planters?
Yes, the planters.
So there is one in the median that will be removed, but the
But
big bowl
the
planters
ones
around
around the
fountain,
circle will stay.
yeah, those
Yeah.
will stay.
so how long would it take to construct that?
I believe they can get it done. I'm not sure if they have a start date, but I mean, it would be this spring. I
And the one
believe.
at Natural, and the one at Natural Bridge at Lucas and Hunt, that's gonna be stamped concrete too. The one where people go across to get to the bus and stuff.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
it's kinda
stamped, cause
dirt
that's
right
already
now.
like dirt.
Right,
I think.
right.
So that's gonna be stamped concrete.
I will say, just to answer your question, if we can table this, this bid is only good for 60 days, and it was open Thursday of last week. So you may risk out on losing that bid. This is something, I mean, we brought the conceptuals to the council, like, well over a year ago. This has been something that we've been talking about a long time, it's something that we put into the budget. So we have had a few votes on this, and if we decide not to do it, we're gonna lose out on the design costs that we've already put in, that's sunk costs, but, so whether you care about that or not,
Well,
but
I'm
we may
just-
lose out on this bid if we
I'm
don't
just
accept
thinking
it
about,
within 60
I'm
days.
just thinking about the citizens that constantly talk about it and wanna do.
And I think the other thing is too, when we talk about like what the citizens can actually do, that's not really, I don't think you want citizens in the middle of the median hoeing and planting flowers. And also, one of the things that was, when I did the grant for the native plants, that what do you call it? That system, the water system. The water system, it did not work, and so we actually were given $20,000 more to actually have just the ones at the circle work. So the ones in the planters where plants could actually like, not the planters, but in the medians where there are like hoses you can see, those don't work. And it would be, only the circle alone was like $20,000 to $25,000 to fix. If we wanted all of the ones where you see hoses coming out of to fix, that's an astronomical cost, and I don't know that we can keep up with the cost of that.
Okay, well, I don't wanna hold up,
I'm not done. I have not had to say, so.
No, yeah, but I don't know if we can keep up with the cost of that, so.
Okay, so, I'm highly opposed to stamped concrete. You look at Kings Highway in the city between Martin Luther King and Natural Bridge, or even St. Louis Avenue, and you will see what concrete, stamped concretes in the median look like. They look not nice. I understand about the bollards, the big curbs, but my proposal would be this, that we bring down the curbs to level, we plant grass and we mow it, period. Without going through the expense of putting concrete on there. I had asked what the water volume is, and I understand that your house flooded, but other people's yards flood too. We live in a flood zone in the 4th Ward. We look at Wallingford, we look at Oakmont, we look at any of those, St. Mary's Lane, all of that goes downhill. And when these municipalities were designed a long time ago, Natural Bridge was up here because it was a natural bridge. Down there, all of the water that comes in feeds all the ponds in the country club. So we've got a lot of water coming down there. We've got serious erosion problems in the 4th Ward. I wouldn't say that it's only the 4th Ward, because there are probably other places, but when you have the number of hills that we have back there, and they're old homes, then I think we really need to look carefully at how green we keep our spaces. They slow people down, they make people less angry. Concrete doesn't do that for us. It is just what it is. So I'm opposed to it, and I'll vote no, but that's just me.
Have we spoke with OMSA? Have we talked with them about it? Because they're part of the Great Streets and stuff.
We did speak with them back when we were, planning this initially over a year ago. And basically they said, we support whatever you guys need to do to keep your costs down. But we would be kind of doing different things. So right now it's kind of one look. They pay the money to make it look nice, although some of their areas aren't that nice either.
They've had a lot of accidents.
They've had a lot of accidents.
Another thing,
But they said go
when I
ahead.
say citizen, it won't be like 30 citizens out there. I mean, if it's 30 citizens on the committee, beautification committee, it may be 3 out there one Saturday doing the work.
Well, yeah, and I would say, and I know that's been talked about before, I would say even if you had volunteers plant, you'd still have to water, either fix the irrigation system or have a watering truck. And
well, we have one, right?
Right, yeah, and then man it. I would say, we're spending $188,000 to get it to stamped concrete. We would easily spend that every 2 years. Potentially, depending on how many accidents are and if they have insurance in a single year, to make it look the way it should look. And we haven't been doing that because we just don't have those funds. It's not
So we
sustainable.
table this for a couple of months until the spring. It's gonna cost us money to.
Well, we would miss out on this bid and we'd have to go out to bid again. And then I doubt that they would submit another bid after being burned the first time.
Well, they're not the only company, right?
Well, the only other person who bid on it, their bid was over twice as high, so.
But, when
May I ask a question to the administrator?
Yeah, Councilwoman Valet is gonna talk, and then you.
Okay.
I wasn't on the board at that time. I wasn't even part of Normandy at that time when all that stuff got discussed. But, we were Glen Echo, we were over there. So I was kind of late to the game here, and I think there are other council members who weren't here at that time either. So we need to understand that there are new voices and people who might want to have a say about it.
There are council members that weren't here, but everybody was, with the exception of Mr. Washington, when we were going through the talks, the budget talks, everyone was on.
And
the
I haven't
council
changed.
was here when we went through this. It was in the draft. We talked about it. Like Sam said, he sent the plan. So this is the only person that's.
Well, we would hate to do it and put the concrete out and then find out we made a mistake. And then what do? Take the concrete out? why don't we table it and that's my say.
Councilwoman Shivers,
Yes, I just wanted to ask the administrator and the council members, with the new administration coming in, the new governor, some associates of mine, they were at one of the last, I believe it was day before yesterday when he was sworn in, the archdiocese. And he put it on top of the table that he's looking into putting more funding for economic development. So maybe we'll get a bid that's lower, than what we have now with him going forth with that. So we don't know with the new governor coming in.
Councilman Evans?
Yeah. I'm looking back at this project over the last 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the planners, we've talked about volunteers for years. The only one that ever got out there was former Councilwoman Debbie Russo. There was nobody out there weeding on a regular basis, and I'm a gardener. I love to garden. I'm always in my garden. This is something that you have to do on a weekly basis. You cannot get out there monthly and weed. This is a weekly, two days a week, getting out there weeding, watering. Do we have the volunteers to do that? Over the last 5 years, I have not seen no volunteers. I've got out there and volunteered, and I was the only one out there dodging cars.
I wasn't talking about plants. I was talking about grass. I want, if the curbs are a problem, bring them down to grade, put grass in there and mow it.
Oh, so you're talking about
Grass, yeah.
Grass.
Yeah.
People are gonna run over the lawnmowers.
Well, I will say this. I personally wrote that grant, and the reason why I wrote that grant for the native plants was because you don't have to weed them.
Right.
You let them go, right? And that is one of the reasons why they come back every year. They look nice. There's an irrigation system. It eliminates, well, we can't go out there this time and everything. And like I said, insurance cost wise, I do not think that it is the best idea to have volunteers in the middle planting, weeding, and doing those things. I don't think that's the best use of it. I think we have to weigh the cost of how long, like you said, like Councilman Evans said, how long the circle has looked the way that it has versus what we, what really is best for the citizens. And I think the circle looking at the way that it has for more than 2 years is more detrimental to the community driving around and everything than us getting it fixed. And that's just my opinion.
And I agree with Pro Temp Mayor, because one of my aunts, she was out there, she was a gardener, and she had property in Illinois with the lakes and all of that, and here in St. Louis. And she had people to come and do that type of work, landscaping and do the gardening. And they were out there at least 3 days a week. You never saw a weed or anything on her property. It's consistent. You have to stay on top of it. And the flowers were always bloomed. The grass was always green. People would just ask, what kind of grass is that? And she would go up to the hardware store, Schulte, and the one down here in Cool Valley, and she would mix up the seeds. And the grass was beautiful. And if you don't stay on top of it, and she had some little chihuahuas as well on her property, and her grass didn't turn yellow or anything. So she was definitely, excuse my language, on top of her game. And but that's people that really enjoy what their lawn looks like, letting the people come in and do the work. And so what if we have to pay someone to do it? At least it's done correctly.
Can I add to that? In the past, we had a company called Bluegrass.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, yeah. They would come in and put perennials in every year, and it wouldn't cost that much. And they would do it, and then winter time comes gone, next spring here they come back, and they would do that. But they had the, like you said, the lawn to do it. But concrete, it's like it's done, you know. So, and I do agree with Councilman Mrs. Karen. She spoke about maybe workshop.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good. So.
She said she wanted to take it to a workshop.
Take it to a workshop.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, could we bring this possibly, that'd give people time to think about it, see if they could find volunteers, so we can have more of a, because I'm like Tony, this is my 16th year, and you see very few volunteers to do things like that in the middle of Natural Bridge.
Right.
Or anywhere, really.
Yeah, so I would recommend we talk about it and finish it one way or another in the workshop.
Now, just so everyone is aware, we
Would
put
that
the-
give?
Yeah, we put this was in the budget, Sam, yes?
Yes.
This was something that we talked about over it during the budget.
Yeah, so we talked about this at several workshops. We brought conceptual designs about what the final project would look like. There was a vote, I believe, last summer to engage with the civil engineer to draw up the specifications. So there was a vote on that. There was a vote to put it into the budget. We've had several conversations at workshops about what the final project would look like. I also just wanted to make one comment about the landscaping. I haven't looked in a couple of years because we've been going in this direction for quite a long time. And admittedly, it's taken longer than it probably should have. But I would expect that we would need to spend anywhere between somewhere around $40,000 to have perennials, a landscape company come in and plant perennials for that stretch and do all the maintenance work on that. And I do believe that's about what they were paying them for the years that they did that.
And I want to say that cost was so astronomical that bill was not paid in full.
Well, yeah.
And also,
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
we had to incur some debt when it came to that. I had not seen, I've been on the council for, this is going on my 4th year. The year that I moved into Normandy, there were plants at the circle and they were turned over, but the year of the pandemic, which was, when was the pandemic? 2020, I hadn't seen flowers at that circle until I wrote that grant to have them planted. And that is the honest truth. And the reason why there weren't flowers at the circle, and this is from the two public works directors ago, it was because the cost was too much. So if that is the way that we want to go, then understand that is something, that's a cost that we're gonna have to incur. And yes, they do look pretty, but is it sustainable cost-wise when it comes to us? Or can we put that money elsewhere as far as having a permanent receptionist or doing those things?
Well,
I don't want to get to the point where we're talking about something to death, because we've gone through all of the steps to talk about it. I don't really know what talking about it some more is going to do when we're talking about it right now, and we've talked about it since June. So if you want to talk about it, it seems like we would have talked about it before we all sat down and said yes to this budget and this plan. I think we talked over it. I think now we're putting, the wheels are in motion, and I'm not saying that, you know, if there was some huge problem where, okay, we should stop, I don't see that. This is not that. This is something that we've talked about. We've gone through the process. We've gone through the proper channels. We've looked at the plans. We talked about what we want to see. I think this is the next step, is let's go ahead and pull the trigger. Sam.
Please just wait. You all want this. We have been saying no.
I'm sorry, you're out of order. Thank you. Thank you. Sam.
If the council doesn't want it to happen, then I would say just go ahead and vote no on the bid, or vote how you will. And then, rather than dragging out through January, we can get started on fixing things to adjust. If we're gonna keep it how it is, then we can start now. It's still the winter, on making sure it looks better in the spring.
Can I say one thing?
But I can't promise that we're gonna be able to deliver that with the budget that we have.
We've talked about it, now we've thought
I
about
just
it,
got
now
a
we're
text.
thinking
Can you
about it.
guys speak up? They
Why
can't
don't
hear
we,
you on
why
Zoom.
don't I make a motion?
Can you talk louder?
I said, we talked about it, now we're thinking about it. We're not sure, why don't I make a motion to take it to a workshop, and we get a vote? If we don't get a vote, correct vote, then we'll just go forward. So I'll make a motion to take it to a workshop.
What's the motion that's on the floor now?
So,
Okay.
we have a,
No, what was the motion?
Okay, so-
I was in the discussion mode.
okay,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
we did have one person that voiced that they were opposed, so you have not asked for an all in favor.
Right.
So this is that motion to approve 2505.
Okay, so we have a motion to,
Yeah, so we got a motion to go into a workshop. I make a motion.
Or to table it.
to table it for a
Table
workshop.
table for a
So
workshop.
there's still a
Andy's
motion
gonna
on the.
say-
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna,
Yes.
what McKenna
Okay.
said, there already was a motion, so either that motion has to be voted on and rejected, or there needs to be a motion to
Amend it.
amend the
So
motion.
he's making a motion.
So I'm making a motion,
Can I make a recommendation?
Well, I thought there was a
Can-
motion.
hold on,
Wait,
sorry.
you got, it's too many. Andy,
Yeah.
go ahead,
Yes.
go ahead.
Kiana, please go.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There is a motion on the floor. There is no all in favor. One person has voiced that they are in opposition, so you need to ask for an all in favor.
Okay,
And what is that motion?
To motion to approve 2505.
okay.
So, it would be proper to make a motion to table it, if you want to do that before the vote.
Yeah.
But we have one person, and so there would need to be a second for there to be a vote on whether it gets tabled or not.
Second.
she seconded the motion to table.
Nelson was the first in that.
Yeah, so now we're considering
Do
to
we need a
table
date
it.
for the
He said till the workshop.
January?
Next Thursday.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the 23rd.
yeah. All right, so can I get a vote? Voice vote. Steve?
Is it, no. I don't want to table
Okay, I want to table.
Who? I didn't hear that, who that was.
Have Kiana call the
Oh,
names.
my God.
Have her do it. It's a motion to move it to a workshop. So people are voting, yes, they want to move it to a workshop, or no, they don't want to move it to a workshop.
Okay, I understood that part, but who just said no, that they didn't want to?
He voted no, and then,
Chair, ask for a roll call.
Karen voted yes. So I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote, and Kiana's gonna go down the line. We
Okay.
haven't got to you yet. Yeah,
Just to be clear, Councilman Sotzenhammer,
it. No.
Councilwoman Cleveland,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Evans.
Yes.
Councilwoman Shivers,
No.
Councilman Nelson,
Yes, that's to go into a workshop, right? Yeah.
Councilwoman Campbell,
no,
and Councilwoman Bayet.
To go to the workshop, yes.
Motion to postpone.
okay. Motion to postpone.
Thank you.
All right, that's tabled.
So January, so we'll talk about that at the January workshop. Resolution number 25-06, a resolution of the City of Normandy awarding a bid for Normandy City Hall LED message board project and authorizing city officials to execute a contract on behalf of the City of Normandy with the winning bid. Sam, can you give us a report on that?
Yes, so the council budgeted for a LED message board to be put at City Hall. It would replace the current sign at City Hall that's just the fleur-de-lis and it says City Hall and the address. We did run a sealed bid process because it was over $20,000 and that's required by code. We only had one person submit a bid. And there is a mock-up of what it would look like, as well as a diagram. The final bid is $30,000. And the LED sign portion, so there would be a brick columns cabinet surrounding the sign, and then on top it would say Normandy City Hall. There's a mock-up of what it looked like. It would look like the LED sign part would be on both sides, and it would be a 31-inch by 91-inch LED sign. Again, this is the only bid we got from some of the other people we talked about before we started the sealed bid process. This seems like a pretty good price for what we're getting. And we are using some of the existing electric that is out there, so that's a significant cost savings as well.
Sam, can I ask a question? I just want to know what budget is coming out.
This is coming out of the capital improvement fund.
Okay.
This was also in the budget, on page, if anyone wants to go back to the budget, it's in the back where we talked about,
Page 27.
27?
Of the budget, yeah. If anyone has a budget with them besides me.
I do. If you look on page 27, it's the electronic sign board. It says in the past, the council has asked for us to look into having an electronic messaging board installed at City Hall. The purpose of the board would be to make the public notifications of meetings at City Hall and to help with special announcements for residents. This will give citizens easier access to obtaining important information for the city. And the budgeting cost for that one was 32. Was this the final one? 32,000 September?
Yeah, so that's what we budgeted. So this is $2,000 under budget.
Are we still in discussion phase?
Actually, I need a motion to approve. Can I get I'll make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we're in the debate part.
Okay. All right. So,
You
I have a-
voted, so.
No, I didn't.
All in favor is to adopt.
So
So
we
so
can-
usually you get the
we can
motion
discuss.
second, then you debate, then you ask for the all in favor.
No, I didn't. I didn't do it the first time. I asked you to give a report.
You just said all in favor right now, though.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
So we voted on it already.
No,
no,
We discussed.
no. Go ahead.
can I, oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. All right, so what I spoke about earlier was the need for communication with people. When I asked several months ago about the cost of implementing this citizen portal on with using the software that we already have and building a back-end database that was ain't that hard to do to collect some of this data and then look at, I mean, it all comes out of the same pot, so it'll all be capital improvement money, but if we use this money instead of for an electronic billboard to build a communication system that worked, because when I look at people in the first and second ward, how likely are they always to drive up and down Natural Bridge? Some of them, if you're leaving the Chester Park area and you want to go to Olivet, you're not going to come down or here. And if you want to go to the Central West End from those areas, you're not going to drive down here. You have to be specifically needing to go somewhere along that pathway. And yeah, a lot of other people who don't live here use that road, and they would be able to see what we're doing. But I don't think it gets the information that we want necessarily to the people who need it, and that is all of our citizens. So what I would like to do is to look at other ways of getting information. I mean, what we need, I think, is an overall communication plan, and see how this piece might fit into that. Or whether or not there would be other ways that we could do an app that would email people or text blast or those kinds of things that would not be that hard to build if we did the collection of data, which is not that hard to do. We get the county data pulled down to our software here, send out blasts. There are a lot of ways that we can do this. Postcards to people saying, if you want to get these messages from the city, how would you prefer to do it? Email or text? If so, give us the information. And you can put together a system that is fairly robust and gets the information out and gets it out a lot faster. That's my only concern about this. We have to bring technology, and you know, this is a good idea, but we don't have that much money. I think the other would have a bigger impact.
So when I got on the council, which was during the pandemic, none of our pandemic money was used for a sign. And that was one of the things that I always questioned about here at City Hall, why we don't have just a basic sign to tell people when things are going on. I don't think that saying like people don't drive this way is a good reason to not put a sign outside, because I would like to see more people. We have people at the meeting right now, and people should be driving this way because this is where City Hall is and this is where we have our meetings. I think that just because people don't drive this way, I don't know if that would, to me, make a good argument for not having a sign. We do have a Facebook page. We do have a website. It would be great to encompass those things that we already have. I think we all have like Nextdoor. I think it would be good to build upon. This is building upon what we already have and getting messages out to people. There are cities that are much smaller than ours that do have signs or have multiple signs in multiple areas. I think this is the first step, and then maybe the next step would be to have one at Hoselle Park. And then maybe the next step is to identify like where would another sign be able to go, but to just say we don't need the sign. And once again, I would like to say this was also in the budget talks when we had them over the summer. So this is not a surprise about the electric sign. This is something that we talked about the entire summer. This is something that was in the budget. This is something that, and I know you weren't here for this part, but this is something that I did advocate for a year and a half ago. So this is us once again pulling the trigger, but it's at the discretion of course, the council.
I'd like to add something. My concern is we don't even take care of our street signs. We got wards that don't have proper street signs. You know, St. Mary's, it took us 2 years to get that sign replaced. There's signs in Ward 1 that need to be replaced, that haven't been replaced in years. You know, as far as our website, I think it's, last I understood, unless it's updated, it was 2019. So we're talking about spending money on a sign when we need to spend money on street signs, websites, as far as communications is concerned. Next door neighbors everywhere. But what are we talking about Normandy? We need to get our sign, we need to get our house in order. But you know, it looks pretty to have that sign up there, but when someone comes up the street, even an Uber driver or whatever, wants to know that they gotta get to this house, they don't even have a street sign. I think in Ward 1, there's a street sign that's been over there, that's hanging off. I think one of the citizens had to go strap it up. So those are things that are important. You know, the safety, you know, the health of the city, those are the things that are important. This sign here, we got a sign. We need to get some street signs. You know, that's all I'm concerned about.
Dennis, can you talk about the signs that we ordered?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Councilman. All of our street signs are up. That was a project we did 6 months or so ago, and we've slowly been replacing.
So
no parking
so
signs
what you're
and
telling me is
stuff.
all the signs in the city of Normandy have been replaced? Because I know that there was a resident on Augusta, Mr. Moore and Mr. Lee. They purchased the sign themselves, cost them $65 to put their sign up on. Now, it had anything to do with you because you weren't there then. And they purchased that sign and put it up.
Are you saying that this happened in the last 6 months?
No, I'm not saying in the last.
You're saying that this
I'm
happened
saying,
in the past years?
what I'm saying is,
Let's
been a concern.
keep it on track though.
And I'm sorry. One, then it's, I mean, yeah, we've replaced all the street signs that were worn in the past year. And if there's one that we missed, just let us know, send us an email.
is there any?
But
signs-
I just want to say, and I honestly just kind of express a little bit of frustration here, that we are talking about street signs when the resolution in front of us is
Yeah,
about
but
bid
can we
for a
stick to the
sign.
resolution,
So
please?
we're off topic. And then even regarding the sign, the
Right.
conversations we're having should have been done when we approved the budget and during the budgeting process. The council already decided that we want this sign, and we'll pay it the $32,000 for it. So staff took that, we took the time to put it out to bid, we got a bid under that amount. And so unless there's something wrong with the design of the sign, or you don't like the bid, and it is okay to change your mind too, but we've already decided this. And this also goes back to the last resolution as well. Any second thoughts, that should have all been worked out before the budget. And these were items that were discussed and brought up several times. And to your credit, Councilwoman, I mean, you have objected, so I understand your position. But it's in the budget. And so now it's just, do we accept the bid or do we not?
I wanted to address the city administrator. Is there a way maybe some of this may have erased from some of the members' thoughts? If we could have the city clerk she takes the minutes, just to bring up those minutes, and with the approval of the council on what was approved, and just email it to all of the council members. That way we have it in writing that it was approved.
I'm sorry, what, are you asking her to give us a copy of the budget?
And the minutes.
So when we have a meeting, we vote on.
Mr. Evans, I gave you the opportunity to speak. Would you please respect me and let me speak as well, please? Thank
Sure.
you.
I'm just ready to vote.
When we have a meeting, we adopt the minutes from the previous meeting. So
Right.
in
What
July
I'm
and August,
saying now
those
is
minutes
that
are already-
if she can just, or the city administrator can get the minutes
Sorry.
from the city clerk.
So there's no reason for us to go through the minutes again. Like I said.
Well, we don't have to go through them.
we don't have to adopt the minutes.
We just need to get a copy of them. That's all.
Can I get a vote?
The voice vote would be appropriate if you want to do an all in favor.
Keon.
Roll call?
Give me a roll call vote.
Okay, Councilman Stockton-Hammer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Evans,
Yes.
Councilwoman Shivers,
No.
Councilman Nelson,
No.
Councilwoman Campbell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Valle.
No.
Yeas have it.
Resolution number 20,
I still would like a copy of the minutes, please.
All the minutes are available on the website.
well, they're also in the email. You have a copy of the minutes in the email, so.
No,
the
but
budget
what I'm saying is, for this meeting, I want in the minutes what I requested, and then I want that information within the next week, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I'm not really sure what your request is. You want the minutes and the budget?
Correct.
The last, how many months? Today's meeting? You want today's meeting's minutes?
And also the closed session meeting.
Okay. Resolution number 25-07, resolution of the city of Normandy authorizing the city administrator to enter an agreement with Weiss Design Group for the design and plan of street improvement projects. Sam?
All right, so this is an agreement to have civil engineers draw up specifications for street improvement projects. Now, if there's any concern about which streets are selected, or any second thoughts about the streets that we talked about in the budgeting process, this is the time. Because once we have these specifications drawn up, we'll go out to bid, we'll bring the bid to the city council for acceptance. So if you don't like the streets we're selecting, now is the time to discuss that. There is an exhibit that shows the streets that are planned for construction this year. We are focusing on Norwood Manor, and there are some other streets as well, but Harchester Drive, a section of Holborn Drive and Atherstone is the main stretch of road that would get a mill and overlay, as well as a few other spot repairs on the curb. Bermuda Court would get a mill and overlay, and then Henderson Road would also get a mill and overlay as part of the Glen Echo funds that were brought over.
Can I speak for that? I think that St. Andrews, the entrance, that area from 7200 St. Andrews to 7218 or so, down that, got several potholes, it's kind of nasty up there, and I think that would be a better use than for Henderson. Henderson was repaved essentially by the American Water when they did it, and when MSD came through a few years ago and did it. Those roads are not as bad as the entrance between St. Andrews and the cut through, as we call it.
Oh, okay, and so that's a easy fix. Just the understanding that, and it sounds like that is what you're requesting. We can't do all of St. Andrews because it's
Right.
long, but we would just do a segment, that first
Right.
segment.
Right.
Swap that out for Henderson.
Yeah, because
Okay.
especially if we're talking about one-way and so forth, which is a whole nother discussion about why that may or not be safe. But that St. Andrews place right at the big gates as you come through, that's really kind of rough.
All right, so it would be appropriate to make a motion to amend it to include St. Andrews Road Segment A as
Do we
opposed
want
to
to do them all,
Henderson Road.
we want to do them all at one at a time, or all of them?
I don't know how many amendments.
Is there any, are there any other roads that Steve and Karen, you guys are doing?
I'm good.
We need a motion.
What about American Water?
Oh, so I can't,
Wouldn't that disrupt this?
yeah, they're gonna make a mess of the streets.
Right, with the lead service line program, I actually brought it up to them and I let them know this is the area that we're going to be doing this year based off of the budgeting. So we communicate with them and then they get in before we do our work.
But we previously talked to them in the summer about, they said that let us know what streets
Right,
you were gonna
yeah.
do. That was something that was talked about in the
We
summer.
communicate with them what we're planning to do
And they
that
were
year,
gonna
and then they get in and do any work they need to before we
Yeah,
finish.
and just from having experienced this with them before, what they sometimes do is if you've got your crew in there, you can get a lot of stuff a lot cheaper. If you say, we'll throw this much money, you do that part, because they essentially do half the street. You do this part, and then at the same time, your contractor can do the rest of this for this money. And that's what they offered us. We didn't have the money to do it at the time. But having it worked out so that you might be able to piggyback with your contractor or with theirs is a way that you could save some money.
Missouri American Water did not do Paddington Drive after they came back and did their fix, moving the meters close to the road. It's still a mess.
Yeah, they do leave a mess.
Do you wanna make a motion to amend?
Yeah, let's make a motion to amend. First of all, the Henderson Road substitute for St. Andrews, and you said that was section A?
Segment A.
Segment A.
And I'll just tell the engineers to do $58,000. They'll calculate it so that the dollar
Okay.
amount's the same.
All right. Yeah, how much can you do for this money?
Can I get a second?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Ayes have it.
Who didn't vote?
So it's amended now. Are there any
Yeah,
other
can I-
amendments?
Any more?
Can I ask a question? Something's wrong, you said something was going on with Paddington Street?
Paddington Drive has never been recovered or repaid after Missouri American Water came in and moved the meters from in the middle of our yard out to the street. No, they left it a mess. It's been a mess since, and they had promised, I was told, they had been promising to come back and repay that street, and they have not.
Yes,
Is that Normandy? Is that
Yeah.
the water people? Normandy's the,
American Water.
Yeah,
so,
they,
well, who's gonna fix the streets?
Usually what they do is they pave over the section that they tore up. Depending on where that is, sometimes it's half the street, sometimes it's not. I think on Paddington, a lot of
It's
them were.
patchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
patchy.
should have gone out, to the middle. They just stopped right there. That's what it is.
I just think where the main is, every street's different. Where the main is, it wasn't at the middle. If it had been, then they would have repaid more.
Yeah, they should have done.
But if there's, initially they cold patch it and then they come back through and put asphalt down.
Well, they put the asphalt down to fix the area that was torn up, dug up, but they had told me, I asked them directly, oh no, we're gonna go back, we're gonna repay the street, the entire street.
Right, they did.
That would be our
That's
responsibility.
not,
to do
yeah,
that.
they don't do
Oh,
that.
Yeah,
We do
Sorry.
that. Yeah, we do that.
But we do have an ordinance, do we not, that says that any utility that comes in has to leave it in the condition they found it in?
Right, and if there is, we will have a look at that. If their repair is not, keeping up, then we may be able to have them come back. So
Yeah.
we will look into that.
I just didn't want y'all to spend money on doing improvements and, oh, yeah, well, we're gonna come in and replace your pipe now.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I, which one am I on? 27, can I get a motion to approve resolution number 2507 as amended?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution number 25-08, resolution authorizing city administrator to enter into an agreement with ZNL Wrecking. Sam?
Yeah, so this is in response to our salt cover collapsing. So Dennis went ahead and got on it and got a bid. Right now, the metal tent has collapsed, one of the sides failed, and so that kind of fell over and it kind of just tipped everything. And so right now, in order to build a new one, we need to get the heavy metal tent off and the tarp off, and it's not something that we really have the equipment for. So this is a wrecking company that will come in and haul that away from us and take care of it. And then I don't think I printed off the bid. It's for $6,800.
It's the last page.
Yeah.
Go to the last page.
I would recommend, they said that they should be able to start soon. I do recommend approving, because the sooner we get that off, we can make temporary arrangements for the salt that we have, and the sooner we can get going on building a new structure.
So they're gonna remove it and replace it?
No, this is just to get the,
Just to remove it.
Oh, just to remove it, okay. And haul it away.
yeah, it's not something we do not have the equipment heavy enough to handle.
Any questions?
One other question, our website, did we update it?
In 2022.
Wait,
but
hold on,
without-
we're focusing on this right now. Can I get any more questions about this particular resolution? Can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 25-08?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, ayes have it. Can I get a motion to,
Citizens comment.
oh, citizen comment, thank you.
Ms. Moore has requested to speak. Ms. Moore.
Can she hear you? Can she hear you?
I'll try again to ask her to unmute.
Does anybody else say that they want to speak? Or just-
No one else has requested to speak.
She say anything?
Oh, hello, is it time? I'm sorry, is it time?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, council. Happy New Year to residents that attended virtually or in person. My name is Kimberly Moore, Ward 2. Just wanted to say a few things. Sorry I wasn't able to make it in person. I'm gonna start with Yolanda. Yolanda, I'm embarrassed of your behavior this evening. You should be ashamed. This whole meeting, all I've heard you say is, I wrote the grant. I did this. I did that. I would implore Yolanda and everyone else to remember, you work for us. You're not on the council to do what you want. You're on the council to do what's best for the residents of the city of Normandy. And that would mean communicating with us and getting our buy-in, not just doing what you want. You want street signs and you want concrete. I think it is asinine to think that people that live in Ward 1 and Ward 2, see, that's you all's problem. You focus on Ward 3 and 4. People that live in Ward 1 and 2 are not driving all the way on Natural Bridge to drive by to get updates. The highway is right here. We jump on and off of the highway. I only ever go on Natural Bridge to go to the post office or to come to these meetings. And most residents, as you all know, do not do that. So I would just say have some common courtesy, some empathy, and to think above and beyond yourself on what's best for all of the residents. And if $35,000 for a sign that half the city is not going to see makes you feel good, but you have a problem with them cutting grass when that's all they do during the summer, is problematic. Also, Yolanda, I don't know how self-aware you are. If you want to play this Zoom back, I've seen you let 2 white men that are not on the council, not on the board, speak out of turn, and you let them talk freely. But other people like myself, you want to yell them down and bang your little gavel. If there's a rule, implement it for everyone, okay? 2, Sam, I appreciate you taking accountability or saying that some of the blame should fall on you for the way that the snow removal was handled. I do agree with that, but I do not think that that statement that you read is fair. That whole statement was blanketed with excuses. You didn't talk about how, yes, there was salt put down, but the salt was put down 10 plus hours before the actual snowfall. When we had Rodney and other people put down treatments before, they put the treatments down closer to when the snow fell. By the time that treatment was down and 10 hours passed, it was made to be insufficient because of all of the traffic. You also did not mention how Public Works is in Ward 1. They drove all the way past Ward 1. They drove all the way past Ward 2 to start plowing snow in the preferred ward for Normandy, Ward 3, and then got stuck. And then got stuck there for hours. And I guess you all had to get a tow truck, so that's more expenses for us. So I understand that you want to cover yourself and you want to cover Yarborough. That's not fair. You can't just say, oh, other cities had issues. Yarborough told me in my face, I emailed all of you all, that I had neighbors who get dialysis. Pardon me?
That was the timer for 3 minutes.
Okay, I didn't hear it. 30 more seconds, please. I would appreciate it. I had neighbors who get dialysis and needed medication. And when I told him that they got shoveled back in, he said, put it in one of your emails, and drove off. If you all are okay with that type of leadership in this city, then you all need to resign or step down because you're not fit. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
Wait, do I get a motion to adjourn or motion to close session?
Closed session.
Motion to go into closed
Citizen
session.
comments going to be.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got.
Oh, sorry, you have a comment?
I definitely have a comment regarding Ms. Kimberly Moore. I don't know why. My name is Richard Wolf. I'm 7812 Paddington Drive, Ward 1. I happen to be one of the white men that you referred to. I don't think it's appropriate for any council member to speak about race. If you are identifying someone, you know, just trying to identify them, it would be one thing, but I didn't take your comment that way. So I find your comment, what's the word I want to say? Offensive. And really not offensive, but unnecessary. I would expect better behavior from someone who's on a council like this. Thank you. And by the way, I appreciate there's a whole lot that I did not know about with the equipment. My critical comments earlier concerning this snow removal and everything, worse than 30 years that we've had. Wasn't aware of all of the problems that you had. I didn't see any pre-treatment. I do agree with Ms. Moore that it should have been done closer to the event, but I'm befuddled like everybody else of why we went so long. I was concerned about people not getting in and out. Tow trucks were dropping vehicles off that had been pulled out somewhere else and then struggling to get out of our neighborhood. You got to go up considerable hills to be able to get out of here. So, but emergency, good Lord, what would have happened if we'd have had a real emergency? I don't count this as a real emergency. But if you'd had fire or ambulance needed, you know, for people, personal health, we're just really dodged the bullet there. But I understand the challenges that you deal with, you guys. But we've had emergency plans in place many years, and I hope they're not being set aside or not reviewed. Take advantage of that history that you're standing on, please. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you for
We
coming.
need a roll call for that.
Oh, I need a roll call.
And actually, can you state the reason why we're going into closed
Oh,
session?
I need
as
a
well?
motion, or I need a motion to go into closed session for personnel issue, legal issue, and real estate issue.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland? Yes. Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilwoman Shivers?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Shivers?
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayet?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
South, I don't want to go west.
As long as we put grass there.
Really?
I really didn't until then. This is your other council person. You're gonna see a lot of this. You can't get in so we can see the street. But we'll stay on them as far as making them.
They move those, they move, but it's been probably close to.
As we're about to, we're going to be doing.
I'm just making sure.
They didn't do that on my street, so I don't touch it. Yeah, so I didn't.
That's fine, right?
Yeah. We put the new ones out there.
Oh, you did that, okay.
Because.
Councilwoman Shivers, if you'll just hang on here, I'm going to move the laptop over to the other room for closed session. So if you'll stay on Zoom, we'll be able to include you into the closed session.
Okay.